Welcome back. Crazy World Supercross Round 2. Man, honestly, after seeing the track previews, I was a little bit like, oh, this isn't going to be good. This is not going to be good. Like, I'm happy that there's racing going on. However, the type of track I'm going, this is just, it's not going to work out. But, dude, what a freaking surprise. Yeah, there was maybe some scoring issues and some other stuff. Like, it's kind of the beta testing second season for World Supercross. They got a new investor. Everything is supposedly going well, and it's going strong. But if we continue to have racing like this, there's going to be so many eyes and so many reels, so many, clips of what's been going on. And now we've got a new bad guy. You have the old bad guy from 13 years ago, Jason Lawrence, that is coming back. That is going to be cool for Arena Cross if we can get some of this stuff. But Vince, man, I want to see it in the chat. Like, what is going on? See, I don't have my Costco cookies with me, but I have my daughter's bunch of candy here, and they gave like pretzels and stuff. Like, Whoppers are kind of good, but I don't know. I miss my Costco cookies, so I need to go tomorrow to definitely get a bunch of those, because, man, I would have had like 9 of them during this race, because you have Ken Roxon coming from basically last to first, starting from a back row. Maybe the first thing that I will point out that I think potentially has some room for improvements is the starting blocks. If you're going to have a small stadium that is an arena cross type stadium, maybe you shouldn't allow to have blocks for riders, because guys like to start with their feet in front of the foot pegs. And if you got another rider in front of you that is starting with blocks, well, you have a potential just to nail those blocks with your feet. It's not going to be advantageous for anyone. So I would maybe make that adjustment. And then also when it comes to, you've got Super Pole and you've got qualifying, maybe after the first moto, if we're having 3 races, because I love the back-to-back races, after race 1, whatever you finish, that's what you're going to start from. Let's not just go back to the original qualifying stuff. I get it, but let's just have qualifying be for race 1. Then race 2, if you win it, you get first gate pick. Race 3, if you win race 2, you have first gate pick. Or maybe let's mix it up a little bit, because there was some really good racing with Kenny coming from behind. This track didn't look like you could really pass that much, but a lot of guys were able to really use their heads and go, all right, I'm going to set this up 4 corners ahead, where I'm going to rail the outside, then I'm going to go outside to inside, and then I'm just going to hug in on the inside and jump to block somebody. And most of the guys did it respectively. But there was one guy that I'm giggling about this, because he was brake checking. I think he hit Wilson like twice and took him out. Then he hit Joey twice, and he damn near took out Kenny, but Kenny ended up actually falling down trying to do just that. He was trying to go from outside to inside, because Kenny is a very methodical rider. He is somebody that, in order to make a pass, he's wanting to just get around you and get full-blown, think not about, potentially guarding from pissing you off the corner before, but he just wants to see through you and get going. I am incredibly impressed with that kickstart dirt bike that is able to weasel his way through all these people. But back to where that crash happened, is he just wasn't on surface area, the knobbies. He was basically just on the knobbies, and he lost the front end, and he says that he pinched his ankle, which that is gnarly. I honestly kind of think that there might be some room for improvement of having the rules say that you could have a spare bike available, especially between races 1 and 2, because if you saw mechanics, they were kicking that pipe, that subframe to try to get it straight again. If you could get another bike up there that a rider is used to, yeah, it's double the cost and blah, blah, blah. But like, that's what racing is supposed to be. That's what this World Supercross is supposed to be. It's supposed to be as close to F1. And F1 you've got spare shit that's lying around right there. So it'd be kind of cool to be able to see those guys be able to do that. But the racing, with how tight that track was, make sure you guys stay tuned for my lines video and stuff. I've got some really good stuff that I was able to catch. However, man, there's something to be said about it's better to ask for forgiveness than permission. And that's a good way to somewhat live your life, because whether it's business or whatever, I got my cat back here that's meowing. She's bropping for me. It will get you ahead. However, if you burn so many bridges, man, it's bad juju. It's just bad juju. And unfortunately, I would not want to be inside of Vince Freeze's head, because it sucks having everybody hate you. And the internet, whatever, just going crazy. He's probably going to just shut down after this as well. But it makes a good narrative, because you had guys like Wilson, who is a clean-cut rider his entire racing career. He hasn't really had anything bad to say. He physically goes up and says, "Hey, Zwayna, how you doing? How you doing?" He physically, on the somewhat podium, because there's not a whole lot of time between races 1 and 2, is like, "No, we are not good. Yes, I bumped him, but I wasn't able to knock him over, and he basically kept me from winning the overall." Because this is a guy that's coming from the Australian Supercross Championship, winning over there, to here, to essentially almost winning, at least that first one, before he got cleaned out. And then you got Joey arguing with him on the overall podium. Like, dude, you knocked me off the track. Like, come on. This is not how we should race. The cross jumping, whatever. I get the ideology of you do whatever you can to win, and that's what Vince does. I mean, you kind of have to somewhat respect that just briefly, because there's not many people out there that are willing not only to risk themselves, but others in order to get ahead. Yeah, there's a lot of, let's say, I'm trying to generalize here as far as having some shitty people. Some people do that, but it's difficult. It's difficult because you want to like the guy for the sheer fact that it's good racing. But then as a racer, you're going like, F that guy, because that's not good. You're going to really, really hurt somebody. And he put some guys in some weird positions. There was even one part, I think it was race 2, where Kenny clearly was jumping to the inside of him, but Vince cross-jumped and cut him off in the air. And Kenny, the good rider he is, was able to somewhat move the bike. Like, it's physics. You really can't move a lot once you're in the air. You can push away from stuff, but it's not like you can really move the bike 6 feet over unless you leave the start ramp at an angle. You know, that's what the whole scrubbing stuff is. So he was able to somewhat move inches away to prevent himself from literally taking them both out in the air, right? And Vince respects people enough that he knows the riders around him are capable of checking up. And yeah, he puts him in a dangerous position, but he's relying a lot on the sheer fact that you're going to slow down. You're going to check up. But what I'm going back to that is it's better to ask for forgiveness than permission. There's also a saying that states, hey, if you're going to do something once, be willing to do it for the rest of your lives. And there's a lot of series out there. We've seen it in Supercross, where he's with other riders like Barsha, where these guys get Anderson, they get penalties. It's not a whole lot of financial penalties, which I really think that's probably going to hurt the riders the most. But anyway, it's like silly warnings, right? You're on a 6-month probation, which really is a slap on the wrist, which tells you, hey, you got away with it, right? And that's the problem I have, is when you get somebody that is riding that way and you don't discipline them, you know, that's the race director's job, is to discipline the riders so that, hey, Zwayna, I know you keep wanting to go on the live show. She's hungry is what she is. It's freaking 4:30 and the cat, tired of taking care of people. Zwayna, you're going to have to wait. We're going to talk for another 10 minutes at most. You can wait. Getting back to my train of thought here is when you get reinforced by getting away with it over and over and over again, well, then you're going to continue to do that, especially when you're getting financially rewarded because he's doing well. What was he? He was first, second, and then he had like a rock, and he could have been on the podium that last race, but he ended up going down, right? He's able to block, and that works really well for arena cross, because if I switch a little bit to the 250s, somebody like Blows is an aggressive rider. He knows how to ride arena cross. He's done it for the majority of his career. That track really suited him. The Australian style tracks, the smaller stadium, suits him because he understands how to hold a line and block a line and cover a line. Vince just takes it one further, where he kind of pokes at you enough to make you intimidated, because that's what I kind of saw from Kenny a little bit. He was intimidated to get super close to this guy, because it's like, when am I going to get blown up? And Kenny is not this massive big dude. Like, Vince was able to take out Wilson, who is a $170, $180, right? Like, some of these guys are bigger. Joey Savacci's another bigger rider. You know, he's gotten bigger. Kenny, if I had to guess, he's right around that 155 to 165 range. So he's easier to be pushed around just because of the sheer mass of him and that motorcycle. So he's got to be a little bit more methodical about his passes, even though he's the faster of the two riders. But you got to lean to your strengths. I know I'm taking a lot about talking about this, but man, if the race directors or something, they talked about penalizing him, and I didn't get a clear example. Yes, this is a reaction video. I can go and talk to people, I'll message the guys at World Supercross to find out exactly what went down, but this is just right afterwards. These are my initial thoughts that I want to know in your guys' opinion in the chat. Join in with me. Right? It makes for good racing, but it's not clean racing. We've seen riders be able to make really good passes. Like, was it Dupree that was able to get around? There was one spot that I've got written down here that I will share later, that you were able to, there was just some really clean passes. I saw Wilson go around two guys at once on the outside without touching anybody. And that was a brilliant pass, an absolutely brilliant pass. So, as a race director, I kind of think that Vince should have been disqualified. If you needed an initial view or biasism from myself, that would be my reaction, is like, how do you get somebody to stop when they're clearly endangering other riders? Like, penalty's not going to be that well. Like, okay, maybe you could even go as far as penalizing the team financially, because then you've got your boss telling you, hey, you can't be doing this. Because there was even times in the racetrack where Joey got him back and pushed him off the track, and he entered the track safely, but he entered the track ahead of Joey, which that was wrong. Like, clearly, if I'm going off of some of the MXGP rules and Supercross rules here in America, I'm fairly versed. I spent a lot of time looking at that damn rule book, okay? And I know that would have been considered an advantage for sure, right? Like, when Joey got pushed off, he went around the whoops and he let Kenny by. He didn't race back to stay in front of Kenny, which he easily could have, and that could have cost him the overall to Dino if he could have done something like that, because then you would have had guys being able to go, hey, and as a team, you're looking for every advantage you can, like, especially F1. They are great about going, hey, we're protesting you because of this happened, right? That's the job of the teams, because it's all around money, okay? So let me know in your guys' comments, and man, truthfully, If there's anything else that I have to say Paul did a great job with announcing with Grant Langston. Like, he's been doing it for so long at MXGP, and then him coming over here, I thought that was a great addition. Chad Reed being on the track, I thought was miraculous. That was awesome. Love Chad Reed's insight when it comes to certain things that he picks up on. Yeah, there were some issues with timing and scoring. That was unfortunate. Yeah, this is live, but give World Supercross a chance. Like, they are creating exceptional content and more racing. And yes, this is a completely different style. We heard it from Ken at the end saying, I'm not used to racing like this. Like, it is it's kind of scary to be this close, right? And give it up for Matt Moss for being the Super Pole guy. And unfortunately, he didn't have a good showing, which was unfortunate for the old man. And if you remember Matt Moss, he was actually the guy that got banned for 4 years for doing PEDs. I think it was a selective androgen module receptor. It was one of the testosterone ones, or it was like a derivative of testosterone is what it was supposed to be. But he got caught with that and got banned for 4 years, and it's cool to see him back and move it, right? He is a good rider. And I think a track like this really showed that, hey, it doesn't matter if you're the best rider in the world. Like a big Supercross track, right? You can rely a little bit more on the motorcycle because you've got some gnarly sections. The bike starts working better with these big, deep ruts. This track didn't have hardly any ruts. It was very hard pack. It's hot there over in Abu Dhabi. And, you had to really just get a good start. Other than that, man, it was good racing as far as tightness. And if this is showing where World Supercross is going, I'm a super fan because of that. Just because of this, awesome. And Johnny, you're probably going, Johnny, you're being ironic because you're saying how good this was, but this was a little bit because of Vince. Yeah, maybe a little bit, right? Because you've got some narrative going on here. And it's good to see that. But all the other riders are not happy about it. And for that, it's something that you got to do because you got to protect your asset. You got to protect the monkeys in the show. Yes, I'm using that word because it's kind of a circus. Racing in general is just a circus. It's a show. You're there to spend money. You're there to get people to buy popcorn and beer and blah, blah, blah. You need to be entertainment. But you got to keep those guys happy as well at the same time. Not just financially, but safely as well if you're going to have a continued show. So anyway, I could go on and on. I've got more stuff going, but this week is going to be a good week. The off-season's been great. And so everybody here, appreciate the heck out of you. Make sure you subscribe to this channel, and thank you for joining the live show. Till next time, you guys know how it is. Keep it WFO and enjoy your weekend. Bra da 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 wah.